This is not a tragedy. This is more than a crime. I want to believe it's a sin, and only God Almighty can forgive us for all the failures going on with these riches we have. We literally giving it away. And the less we get from what we have, the more we giving away, forget less. Yes. The more we give away from the less we get in. I don't know if I'm making sense. What I'm about to tell you guys tonight is what was reported in the press over the last week or so. Glenn making up nothing. Just how I buy it, I'm selling it. And everything I'm about to tell you happening in this country year after year. I'll begin with the first story. The Attorney General, the Attorney General deals with law. Yes. The Auditor General, both is AG. One is Auditor General and one is Attorney General. The Auditor General, the man who does check all the expenses and all the books of all the corporations in this country, he found that Guyana gave away over $1 billion in 2021. Over $1 billion American dollars in 2021 of taxes it should have collected from the oil companies. And Guyana only get $643 million in 2021 from our oil. This thing makes sense? Give away $100 million and collected $633 million? Definitely. I don't try to put this on me. I might make a little mistakes now and again, but nothing as big as this. Giving away $100 million and collecting only $633 million from the oil? Don't put this on me, man. No. $100 million, Uncle and Auntie, is 207% increase for all the public servants' salary. $100 million could wipe away all the cost of living problems we have in this country presently. Or it could have erased 1/3 of Guyana's debt, all the debt we have. That's how much money the Auditor General fined the government waived on the oil companies in 2021 alone. If you all don't want to blame anybody else for this madness, then please go ahead and blame it on Glenn Lall. Blame me for everything. I'm going to take it. Here, the next one. The Auditor General said GRA collected $168 billion from corporation tax on private companies, public servants, import duties, withholding tax, premium tax, imports on motor vehicles, alcoholic beverage, fees and fines from the Guyana Police Force. You hear that? $168 billion collected locally from me and you, the public servants, and all the private businesses in Guyana. That's what we collected. And them give away, the oil company them, $203 billion. So them taxing me and you and giving away everything to the foreigners. You can blame me for this insanity too, Uncle. I'm going to take this blame. Now hear from the AG himself how our government does spend the tax money they collected every year. Is the Auditor General mouth I'm speaking from tonight. I'm not speaking from my mouth. The coalition government in 2018 took a 800 million loan from India and buy 12 drainage pumps from an Indian supplier. The no confidence motion and the long delay of the elections hold up the arrival of the pumps. So in 2020, the PPP government make a payment, and when the pump arrive and install in Guyana, it's only then they find out that 10 out of the 12 pumps cannot pump the water what it was meant to do. Now who y'all blaming for this? Huh? Two governments, $800 million, 12 pumps, and 10 can't do the work. So don't blame nobody. Blame Glenn Lall, and let's move on. Blame me. I'm going to take all the blame tonight. A company that was blacklisted by the IDB and our government. Yes, they were blacklisted by the IDB and our government from doing any kind of business where the tax dollars is concerned until 2030, was given 6 contracts for over $106 million in Region 9. You hear me clearly? Blacklisted company, both by government and IDB, was given $106 million contract in Region 9. The AG, the Auditor General, calling for an investigation to find out how this company get all these contracts when they were blacklisted from receiving any contract. Now, Uncle, Glenn Lall never go to Region 9. I there all the way here in Georgetown, Region 4. But y'all don't blame any government for that. Blame Glenn Lall for this too. I'm going to take all the blame tonight, like I said. Listen to the next story. This one, you know, is unfair for me to take the blame. I can't deal with it. The body too big for me, Uncle. The coalition government between 2015 and 2018 gave out 318 drug contracts, value 60 million American dollars. 60 million. We got $2 million or $4 million US for take care of COVID or for remove the mole ship. But we borrow $60 million. We give $60 million in drug contract. And none of the drug contract had time limit when the drugs to be delivered to the hospital. The drug contract has no penalties on whether or when these drugs to be delivered. Nothing like that. Contract got nothing. The contract also had no clause how the government can get back our money if the supplier doesn't deliver the drugs. Them can just collect the money, deliver what they want to deliver it when they want to, if they want, and just go their way in peace and love. What the coalition did there, Uncle, is nothing new in the Ministry of Health. That kind of arrangement started under Barajagdeo presidency. And it has continued under the coalition. And it's still going on to now. Come on. You can't blame this one on Glenn. This is too big for me, Uncle. Or you can blame ExxonMobil. Them big enough to take this one on their shoulder. It's laughable, right? I know. All these things were reported in the Kaieteur and the Stabroek News for the last week. 60 million US dollar with 318 drug contracts and nothing to secure the taxpayers' money, man. Huh? You don't know whether you're getting a painkiller to ease your pain, or you're getting a tablet to give you more pain there, Uncle. That is what they're doing to you. That's what they're doing to you. So let's move on. Let me tell you about what has been going on at the Guyana Defense Force, the GDF. For the year 2021, the AG reported that vouchers, receipts in the sum of $1.8 billion is missing. When they asked the GDF for the missing vouchers and receipts, the GDF tell the auditors they're at the Ministry of Finance. Must go there and collect them. Oh boy. The GDF spent $180 million to buy furniture and equipment out of the same money. And when the AG asked to see the things they buy, 37 million worth in furniture and equipment is nowhere to be seen. I can take this blame. I can take the blame for the missing furniture. But I'm not taking the drug contract blame. Oh boy. For 2021, the Army said they buy $540 million in fuel. When I read this story, I had a laugh. And I said, I got to share this one with y'all. They said they buy $540 million in fuel, which is being kept in large tanks at the various army bases. When the auditors visited one of the camps and asked to measure the fuel inside the tank to balance what was purchased and what was in store, what was in the tank, the army tell the auditors, we don't have a dipstick to measure what is inside. How they are in the process of buying one. They are in the process of procuring one, a dipstick for measuring the oil in the tank. You can't see the furniture and the equipment they buy. How you going to see the many gallons of fuel there in the huge storage tank? Uncle? You guys can blame this one on me too, man. I'm going to take all the blame tonight. Oh boy. I wonder what goes through the Auditor General head when he goes from places to places and meet the same corruption and thievery, fraud in every place year after year. Year go, year come. I think I'm going to call him tomorrow and ask him. And uncle and auntie, you can blame this one on me too. Hear it. The Ministry of Education during 2017 and 2018 under the coalition spent 989 million on books for primary and secondary schools. But the auditors found no evidence that they did spend all that money. What I found was that 71% of the textbooks that was needed in Region 2, 4, 6, and 7 were not delivered to the schools. So the parents had to end up buying books for their children. Oh. What they found was that 17 schools in different regions had more books than they needed. And instead the ministry collecting the books back and share it out to the schools that didn't have, the books were left at the schools for rats and rodents to read them. They were all damaged or destroyed. This is the Guyana you live in. And this is the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education, the Army and the police. It's the same thing the Auditor General tell Guyana 2 days ago. 2 days ago, how the hospitals storing infectious syringes and dirty needles in Coke bottles and plastic cans. I did a TikTok on it. Jagdev spent a couple of years back over 200 million US dollars to purchase a waste disposal equipment called hydroclave to discard all the hospital's waste. It is sitting at the Jarchang Hospital at the side street there. You almost look at it. A big can. Look like an oil drum. I don't know if it's working on to now. But they're storing all the needles and so in cans and plastic and Coke bottles. And you, like I said, you can blame that one on me too. I'm taking all the blames tonight. Then the AG went on to say the government overpaid more than $100 million in salaries to public servants in 2020 from the Ministry of Home Affairs. Yes. Excuse me. 100 million overpaid in salaries in the Ministry of Home Affairs alone. And they're hustling to get back. And they are hustling to get back 100 million, which was overpaid under the coalition government. You didn't hear what I said, man. 100 million overpaid in the Ministry of Home Affairs in 2020. And they're hustling to recover another 100, which was overpaid under the coalition. You guys hear the kind of money these people say they overpay? 100 million for 1 year alone. And nobody getting charged. Or nobody getting fired. They're being promoted instead. Like I said, you can blame me on this one too. My shoulders are broad. I can handle it. The Harbour Bridge. What the government said has spent 100 million in 3 days to fix it the other day. You guys remember? They said they fixed it the other day. Where they both jam it. Them collected, listen to this one. Them collected 100 million to run the bridge in 2020. spent 500 and something, and the 400 and something, they didn't return it to the treasury. What happened to that? Don't ask me where that gone. But you can blame me on that too. This is the type of things that goes on in your country with every ministry, every corporation, government heads and government departments. Year go, year come. And you notice I ain't touch anything about contracts tonight. I ain't say nothing about contracts. You don't want to hear that one. How much them just overpay on these projects. I will just share one with you that was reported yesterday. The leg one Stelling. In 2018, the contract was awarded for $413 million. And in 2019, they advanced the contractor $199 million. When they check the work, they only see about $50 million work done. In 2021, they give the contractor a second advance of $151 million. So the contractor collected total $350 million. March this year, 2022, he asked them for $168 million more, which would carry the project price from $413 million to $581 million. I didn't hear what I said there, man. The original price was $413. He collect $350 already. Now you are $168. So that pushed the project price from $413 to $581 million. The leg one still there down there. Go and check it out. And you can blame Glenn on this one too. Excuse me. Blame Glenn on this. Money like sun going on in this land. And I hear sending I hear children without lunch. They're fainting in the classrooms. Here another one. This one also I'm not taking blame. This one I am blaming all of you who listening to this program. And every Guyanese. Glenn is taking blame on this one. Listen to it carefully. 1 year ago, Jagdeo tell all of us how disappointed he was that he couldn't find people to verify and check Lisa 1 and 2, $9 billion US thrown by those oil gangsters at us. You guys remember this story. The deadline for checking that $9 billion expired, so we have to accept and pay it as is. 9 billion American dollars, you know. That's 20, 22, 23, and 24 budget money. We ain't checked. That just gone. We accept it as is. And when the Guyanese people thought that Jagdeo would correct that situation so that we never end up in that same boat again with any other projects, you lie. You lie. You got to think again. We are now told by the Auditor General's report, the same Auditor General, that the government still didn't find experts needed to properly monitor the expenses and cost of the other projects. You hear me? Not Glenn saying that. The Auditor General put it in the report that released only Monday gone. Is this a real place, uncle? Huh? Guyana is real? We didn't hear this from Jagdeo mouth, the king who is running the oil sector, but from the AG mouth. Is this how the government running we US $1 trillion oil sector, man? Huh? Running a 50-50 profit-sharing business and Jagdeo not hiring the experts needed to check and verify the expenses? Come on, man. Come on. Something isn't right. This is not an oil curse on Guyana anymore. This is a total disaster for Guyana. Since 2020, GRA needed at least 70 experts to properly monitor, verify, and check the oil expenses. We are now in 2022, Auntie. We are now in 2022, Uncle. And they don't even have half of those people in place to look out for our interests. Yet, still, Jagdeo going ahead to approve more billion-dollar projects. You guys see the trouble we in with these leaders? Huh? Like I said, this information I'm sharing here, Uncle, is not Glenn Lall saying this. This is in the Auditor General's report. Let me repeat again. That only released Monday gone. He is saying that Jagdeo and the GRA don't have half of the experts needed to verify and check the oil spendings out there. So what kind of business Guyana really running here? Huh? Projects which cost no more than $4 billion. The oil companies giving we bills for $9 and $10 billion. And we still can't pay experts to come and help us check. Really? Does this country and its oil still belong to me and you? Really, Mr. Jagdeo? This wealth belongs to the people of this country? And that is only one piece of the story, Uncle. Here another piece. Jagdeo didn't properly check and verify Liza 1 and 2, $9 billion costs. Knowing since then that we didn't have people in place to check it. Yet this man went ahead and approved the third and fourth projects with an additional $20 billion US cost. Is this for real, man? Or I am dreaming? I don't have the answers. Is this how a 50-50 partnership business is run? Where one side with known gangsters is spending and Jagdeo on the other side not checking? I'm just asking. I am asking because some of you are smarter than I am. And guess what, Auntie? He's gearing up to approve another $12 billion US for the fifth project come next month. Yes, come next month, December. The opposition is silent too. The opposition is completely silent. Sometimes I want to ask myself if they fall in a coma. You still don't have people to check them 4 projects, and you going to approve the 5th? Is this a deliberate act? Or this is a total sellout of our oil resources? Help me here, man. I need some help. I need some answers. This country is doomed. So I'm sorry to say that. Let me say also that this one falls directly in John Deere's lap. You can definitely got to blame him for this one. I am not taking this blame for he and the GRA not finding qualified people to check to see what the oil people doing with wheating. I am not taking that blame. How do you fathom this thing? How do you come to grips with this thing, auntie and uncle? Huh? We oil? Or y'all want me to go look for people for bring them to do the checking? If you guys want that, I could do that. Because these people are not doing anything. And it's our oil. How can you have a business and not checking these things? I am lost for words. And these are not little money. These are billions of American dollars, auntie. The AG discovered so much during his investigation and checks. A whole year with 3 days a week program would not be enough for me to tell y'all. We are now going through the report. So as time goes by, I'll fill you in with some of the horrible findings. You guys see how some people does get rich overnight? Both in and out of government? It is because of this skullduggery that goes on year after year with things like what I just spoke about. Yes, this is how they get rich. Vladimir Putin of Russia is touted to be the richest war leader on earth, or the richest man on earth. The few close friends he has in Russia are also billionaires, filthy rich. The world only knows this because of the war going on in Ukraine. Countries hold up all of them money. Even Putin wealth they hold up, that they have stashed all over the place, in all the banks, with all the properties and so on all over. That's how we know. Two of Putin's friends, the billionaires, commit suicide with their families. So it was reported. You know why they commit suicide? Some of them say because they freeze all their accounts and properties all over the world, they commit suicide. I don't know how true that is. Many other corrupt leaders are also filthy rich, auntie, where they stole everything and pile it up for their own generation and leave their people, hundreds of millions, to live in poverty. That is greed. Yes, that is greed and selfishness to the highest extent, uncle. We're leaders, friends of the leaders, and politicians. You got some of them right here, you know. Filthy rich right here, you know. And you know them, I don't have to call the name. Whew. Let's turn to today's lead story in all the newscasts in the country. The Wales power plant and the gas plant. That was the headline in all the news today. President Ali said he approved the construction of both plants at Wales. This is what he told the nation yesterday. I want you guys to listen to him carefully, what he had to say. Play it for me, please. Carefully, listen carefully what he tell the nation.
Good afternoon. As promised by the government of Guyana, in relation to our gas to shore project and the 300 megawatt gas power plant, as soon as decisions are made, we promise to make them available to the public. I'm therefore pleased to share the following information with the public. The government of Guyana, via Cabinet today, issued its no objection to the ranking of CH4 Linseca as the #1 ranked group to build a 300 megawatt combined cycle power plant and natural gas liquids plant at Wales, West Coast Demerara. Under an engineering procurement construction contract, Cabinet's no objection will now allow negotiations to proceed to conclude an EPC contract. Power China was ranked #2 and may be engaged if negotiations fail to conclude a contract with Linseca by end of November. Earlier this year, 9 firms were publicly pre-qualified to bid on the EPC contract. A request for proposals was issued to these pre-qualified bidders. At the closing date of September 13, 5 bids were received. These bids were evaluated for technical compliance and ranking by Stantec and Worley, 2 global engineering firms with expertise in oil and gas. Based on the reports of these international firms, an evaluation team of 3 people, including a representative of Exxon, was appointed. The evaluation team performed the evaluation in accordance with the technical and economic criteria set out in the RFP. On the basis of the bids submitted and clarifications received, the evaluation team unanimously ranked CH4 Linseca as #1 and Power China as #2. Contract negotiations will now start with the expectation that a contract will be executed before the end of November. Key considerations in the evaluation took account of the expected date of delivery of the 300 megawatt power plant by December 2024. Both top-ranked companies confirmed this deadline. The EPC contract will be supervised by a global supervision firm. The selected supervision firm is Engineers India Limited. The 300 megawatt power plant and NGL plant will be owned by the government of Guyana. Prior to conclusion of the construction, an international firm will be competitively selected to operate the project to international standards and best practice. Exxon is expected to deliver the completed pipeline to the power plant by the 4th quarter of 2024 to achieve commissioning and testing of the 300 megawatt power plant by the end of 2024. The gas-to-energy project is expected to deliver power at less than half of the current costs. Project generation costs, taking account of payment for the pipeline, operations and maintenance, and capital cost recovery, shall total less than 5 US cents per kilowatt hour. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Guyanese, this is a significant movement forward in Guyana not only achieving energy security, but us achieving an important benchmark, that is the reduction in our energy costs so that our manufacturing and industrial development and expansion can take place, and so that the ordinary families and the ordinary people can feel a substantive reduction in the cost of electricity in their pockets and in their household. Just for reference, a family at the end of this project that now pays 20,000 Guyana dollars per month in light bill or electricity costs will see that cost coming down to $10,000. As I said before, we have committed to full transparency and accountability, to making every aspect of these projects public, to sharing information with the public and all stakeholders as soon as it becomes available. Today, as Cabinet would have concluded, I am pleased to share immediately the objection of Cabinet on this key and important project in the transformation of our country. Thank you very much. God bless you.
God bless you too, President Ali. And God bless all of you, Guyana. Joshua, you understand what President Ali said there?
I guess a little.
I don't know if you guys understand everything he said there.
Not
Uncle
well. I
Auntie.
don't. Not everything.
But I am here, and I love to pick them up and break down what these people, make it very simple for you people to understand what President Ali just said there. He was reading from a statement, and when I looked at his facial expression delivering that message, it was clear to me that he's deeply hurt doing this to this nation. I could have seen it in his eyes and hear it in his voice that he clearly doesn't agree with what he was given to read there just now. Uncle, this is what he said in simple layman terms. Both plants at Wales will be built after discussions with two companies they are in talks with presently. He did not mention how much money these projects will cost or where the money will be coming from. Not a single word we heard about that. The only thing he said was that this is going to be an EPC contract. Now, what is an EPC contract? How many of you understand what is an EPC contract? Uncle? EPC means engineer, procure, and construct the facility. That's what it means. Design the project, get everything together, and build both plants. That is what EPC means, Uncle and Auntie. Where the money will be coming from to pay the contractor to design and build the projects, he didn't tell us that. We are still hanging in thin air where that is concerned. Y'all will have to keep y'all eyes, ears, and something else open when that price tag will be thrown at us. Because according to David Patterson, the pipeline alone was to land at Wales for $400 million. Under Jack Dale's stewardship, the cost for the pipeline meet $1.3 billion. 3 times. I think Patterson said the gas plant that Ali spoke about was costing them no less than $300 million. Under this government, you will hear the price when they announce it at the end of the month, according to Ali. Because you hear him say they are still in negotiation with 2 companies, an American company and a Chinese company, and they will decide at the end. We're going to hear the price at the end. Our young president said the gas plant will be able to produce fertilizer cheaper for the farmers. And of course, the plant will produce butane, methane, lighter fluids, cooking gas, and so on for local use and sell overseas. Yes. All of the plant go do. They can't get a rice mill or a sugar factory up and running to export the proper rice or sugar. To match the international market, them going with gas plant to compete with the world. I hope you guys following me, I hope you're following me. As for the power plant, not the gas plant now, the power plant to give away cheap electricity or at half the price, as President Ali said. Man, 30 years now they can't run GPL. They can't manage the water cell plant at Garden of Eden. They can't manage the pool drying power plant and the other power stations across the country properly. Yet they're going to manage a 300 megawatt power plant. This is good going in Guyana. I love this country. At present, we are losing a big chunk of the electricity produced by GPL and all the power plants across the country due to porous, old and leaky lines, power lines. And they can't fix and correct that year after year. Year go, year come. To God Almighty, tell me, Uncle, how they're planning to distribute the electricity coming from the Wales plant? Can somebody tell me this? I'm just asking. Then he said, President Ali said, they hired an Indian firm to supervise the construction of the project. And after the project is done, it will be managed and operated by experts in line with international standards. You heard him. Those were his words just now. How we can hire Indian firm to supervise the project and international, bring experts to manage and operate it in line with international standards. This gas plant business we're entering into, Uncle, there is no evidence that this project will benefit any one of us. Yet he's hiring international firm and foreign experts to manage and run this gas project. Yes. Yes, Uncle. We oil business out there. The 50 billion plus US dollar in bills from the 4 projects. President Ali not hiring Indian firm or experts to verify and check the billions those gangsters thrown at us. Oh my. Oh brother. You need divine intervention in this land. Only He, God Almighty, can help y'all. Lall can only shine the light in the dark tunnel y'all in. Huh? These chaps got the nerve to tell us they're hiring an Indian firm to oversee construction and will be hiring experts to run and manage the day-to-day operations on an uncertain business, but can't hire Indian firm and experts to help us verify $50 billion spent. What do you call this type of management of a country, Uncle? Huh? Oh, this is where Guyana is heading. Running after gas project. And the whole oil sector is a free-for-all. For all the foreigners to do what they want. Bernard, you understand what's happening in this land, brother?
Yes, very well.
You hear President Ali? What is man find time to put out statement on? Uncertain business. Ready for higher experts to come for manage and run that. Experts for manage and run and check we aisle. The Auditor General said, since 2020. We in 2022 and GRA can't find half. Half to check. This man has say he hire experts to come for run gas plant. This type of management reminds me of a man I know walking on the streets on to now broke. He used to padlock and watchman a small chicken pen with 14 pens inside from thief men and his cattle ranch. With over 1,400 animals, the gates wide open for the criminals. He's still there walking on the streets barefoot. That is where we will end up, all of us. Then Ali said, electricity cost will cut in half. When this will happen? And where is the proof, Mr. Ali? Where is it? Man, this is not a Nancy story. That is not madness. It's not an insanity. It's another dream coming from the moon he selling Guyana. He said two things in that same statement about cost that I'm pretty much certain you guys missed. I want to play them one by one for you to listen back. Play the first piece for me.
The gas-to-energy project is expected to deliver power at less than half of the current cost. Project generation costs, taking account of payment for the pipeline, operations and maintenance, and capital cost recovery, shall total less than 5 US cents per kilowatt hour.
You hear what he said there, Uncle? He said after all the costs are taken out, the cost to construct, maintain, and operate, they will be able to produce electricity at less than 5 cents per kilowatt. That is $10. So Guyana will be getting electricity at less than $10 per kilowatt. That's what he said. Now hear what he said in the next breath. Play the next piece.
Just for reference, a family at the end of this project that now pays 20,000 Guyana dollars per month in light bill or electricity costs will see that cost coming down to $10,000.
You hear that? One breath is 5 cents, which is 10 Guyana dollar. 5 US cents, which is 10 Guyana dollar per kilowatt. The next breath, he said, if you're paying $20,000 now, you will be paying $10,000, half of that per month. You know, Uncle, I know I was bright in school with maths. And you guys can help, you guys can join me in doing the maths together. Listen this. If we're paying $44 presently, and that go cut in half to $22, then how the 5 cents or $10 fits in there, man? Bernard, you could help me there?
I ain't that good at math.
Presently, we are paying $44 each household per kilowatt. If we cut that in half, then that is $22 we will have to be paying, right?
11 US cents.
So where does 5 cents fit in that you talk about? This $10. Is which one really? Is it the $10 per kilowatt or you going to cut in half to $22? I am confused with their maths. Somebody help me here. What is the truth? Bernard, you can do the maths?
I never must live more at once and you can handle it.
I always know, Bernard, when you set about to pull a con, you just have to rehearse and write down the lines so you don't forget the lies. Lines and lies. the game, the trickery, the stunt you're about to pull on the people. Yes. You just got to write down them lines, Bernard.
Definitely.
If not, you can't correct all the lies. Huh? 1 minute, you're saying less than 5 cents, which is 10 Guyana dollar. At present, we are paying $44. And when you cut that, it will be $22. Which one is correct, man? You see when I write the statement, how confused that is get? That's why I could have tell you earlier that he was reading a statement that he doesn't know what he's reading.
He didn't think about anything.
Huh? This is what is going on with the gas projects, uncle. If I think Skeldon plant is a disaster, wait and see this gas project. Wait. I don't believe nobody didn't benefit from the Skeldon plant, you know. Don't ever run away with the idea. Big money fall in people's pockets there that I'm enjoying right now. And bigger money will be falling into pockets with this project too. Excuse me. With this gas project. Big money will fall in the pocket. Yeah, man. So if it collapses, Bernard, if it fall out, who cares? It's me and you back. We'll be feeling the pain. Me and you and your children will be saddled with the burden of repaying. Just like how we're repaying for that 200 million US Skeldon plant. Was somebody full of pocket already and having a good time, them and their family with. The same thing will happen, Bernard. The same thing will happen with this gas to show project.
Definitely.
When it collapses, they're going to say, when it collapses, Ali say, it's a government project. When it collapses, just like this Skeldon plant, when it collapses, we will left with it. And guess what? The boys who pockets that will be filled, they and them family will enjoy. We sweat. Uncle, let me repeat this thing. This is the biggest project ever in the history of this country. And they have never held a press conference to explain to this country the benefits or to take questions from any reporters. What are they hiding from me and you? Huh? One press briefing Barra Jagdeo and Winston Brasington had when they tell the media not to record them. That was a press briefing. Can you believe this, Bernard? I was present and left in disgust with what was coming out of Jagdeo and Brasington mouths at that press briefing. Since then, they have been ducking, running and hiding from the press on this same project. Last month, they held a meeting with the West Bank residents whose land the pipelines have to pass through. Oh boy, Bernard, hear this one. My reporter asked Brasington the first question. You know what he told her? Don't ask me. Look, the minister is there. Go and ask the minister.
He's in charge.
When the girl went and approached the minister said they are not there to answer questions on the gas plant, but to talk to the people about their land, which the pipeline got to run through. Everybody running and ducking and hiding. Now you got the president reading a couple minutes speech about 5 cents electricity with no proof. That is the transparency and accountability that he promised in his very first speech he presented to the country. Oh, what a way to run a country, man. I love Guyana. And I love all you people too. Government waives $203 billion in taxes for the oil companies last year alone. Uncle and auntie, that money could have given us, well, not me, give all the public servants 203.7% increase, not one. You heard about that? That money could have given them 203.7% increase for all the public servants. Or you want to hear more? That money, uncle, could have powered this whole country with electricity and give every home free electric for life, plus water, free. That's the kind of money we give away in 1 year alone to the oil companies in tax concessions. Bernard, please don't get mixed up or confused, uncle. This has nothing to do with the taxes on the oil money they're fetching away. Oh my. Woo. If we get that tax, then we really can live like the people in Dubai. If we only get that. These politicians in this land really and truly take off your clothes and got you all walking around naked. And you guys making joke. Can't see what's happening. Continue sleeping, my brothers and sisters. Continue. She's a teacher, uncle, and working part-time. Right? The letter said give her a teacher and working part-time at one of them call centers. And the taxes she was paying is incorrect. Incorrect. So GRA recalculate the taxes. She would, right? They said it was incorrect. So GRA recalculate the taxes she owed and sent her a letter to pay the remaining taxes of $345,000.
What?
To be exact, it's $345,132. She told the president she's living with her mom, grandfather, and 3 disabled siblings. And only she and her mother is the breadwinner for the house. That's what she said in the letter.
She and your mother too.
And when she done pay half of the water bill, light bill, internet and food bill, every month she is left with $5,000 that she juggles around to go to work.
Working 2 jobs.
Yes. So she's asking President Ali to please waive the taxes GRA is asking for. Man, you got to love this country. Read the teacher's letter to the president in Sunday's Kaieteur News. And I tell them to do a story on it too. Imagine you giving away taxes.
$203 billion.
$203 billion taxes. 1/3 of this year budget. With that, I say namaste. And have a great weekend.